Okay, if you had a superpower and the superpower was you can make anybody go to zero.
Go to zero?
Yeah, to go to zero. Like which if you want to take someone else's superpower away, which superhero? From anime to like Marvel. You can make them powers go to zero.
Oh, I see.
So we take their powers.
Pardon me?
So we take their powers.
No, you can't take their power, but your power is to
Oh, to cancel their super.
yeah, make them go to zero. You basically called Zero Man.
Okay. Except as Spider-Man, I think other Superman.
Except for Spider-Man, everybody else zero.
I mean, like, can be zero, but yeah. Okay, I'm not sure.
No, the thing is, he has to be there. He can't make everybody. He had to pick one person to go zero.
QB.
Okay, QB.
Okay. Who?
QB.
Madoka Magica.
Kubi?
Yeah.
Who's Kubi? I forget.
Do you watch Madoka Magica?
I can't hear her because she has a mask on. I thought you would say like One Punch Man or something. You take this person's power away?
Take this.
Oh, you want to take the power? Oh, okay. If you had one wish and you could only have one superhero power, what would it be? Since you're a rogue.
Yeah,
So,
well, I'm gonna stick to one of Rogue's powers and say super strength.
super strength?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I think I could defend both myself and my loved ones.
Okay.
Subtext that's there in the reruns.
And that's what people enjoy because they can go back to it and actually appreciate it on a different level.
Yes.
Like, ooh, an explosion, ooh, the blackbird, which is cool, right? But yeah, it's
Yes, the adult stuff that pulls you in.
Yeah.
Also, those writers, like I said, they wrote stuff accessible to the general public. What am I doing here?
Okay, interesting. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good for me to know before we start. I won't officially start till 6:15 because we have to watch something or whatever. And what happens is it won't let you go. So you've got that book and it's a page turner and you keep going and suddenly you realize that you haven't had enough hours sleep and now you have to go to work the next day. Like that kind of a concept. Or, I mean, now what happens to me, I don't know if it happens to you, is I'll start watching a show. And back in the old days, when you could only see a show once a week, you would watch your favorite show and you would watch it and that would be great and you would have to wait a whole week for it. But now we binge things. So I also want to talk about what makes storytelling bingeable. It's that great, what's going to happen next. And sometimes it's, I don't know if this happens to you, but I become so involved in the lives of the characters that I want to watch the next one because I want to see how they cope with that terrible thing that just happened to them, or whether two people will get together. Or in my case, I read a lot of and watch a lot of crime shows, so I want to know who done it and whether the villains will be punished. So my name is Maya Woods. I'm not going to speak first. I'm kind of like the MC. We're going to hand it back and forth. This is David A. Lloyd, who's a novelist, and he's also a screenwriter.
Hi. Oops. Hi. That better? Yeah. I'm just going to mention something about WCYR. I joined it about 15 years ago. I was a writer long before, but not really getting anywhere with it. And I joined the writers group when I moved to Newmarket, and just that community, the support you get being in a writers group has made a substantial difference in the quality of my writing and just having that kind of support. Since joining the group, I've written my first novel. With my second novel due out this year. There's a door back there. With my second novel due out this summer, and I've written 6 movies, which all have been produced in either Toronto or low-budget movies, have been produced in either Toronto or Ottawa. This is only one of them because I unfortunately don't have DVDs of some of the others. And I wouldn't have been able to get myself organized enough or disciplined enough to be able to do that without WCYR.
You're so modest. Will you do your first reading, and then we'll talk about what immersive storytelling.
All right. I'm not going to tell you what this is from. It's only 2 pages here, so bear with me because I'm not a public speaker. The road before her was dark and slick with an early ice. A tiny plastic scraper did a poor job of keeping the windshield clear. Mary rubbed her double-knitted gloved hands together and stomped her feet to keep the blood circulating while she wished she wore long underwear like Sean suggested. The spot she found was perfect. She could see the clinic down below, and with her lights off, she was practically invisible to anyone looking up the steep hill. Perfect spot for some late-night surveillance. The only drawback was she couldn't run the car engine for the heat, or be heard down below. The orange numbers on her car clock told her it was just after 3 in the morning. She had been parked here since before midnight. She knew nothing would happen until late, but still, 3 a.m. There was a light. A motion sensor activated at the rear of the clinic. Here we go. Mary reached into her parka's inner pocket and dug out her phone. She opened the camera app and began taking pictures while tilting the car dash toward the light. Someone had stepped out of the service door at the rear of the clinic. A moment later, a small flash and a cigarette was lit. Damn, smoke break. The man with the nicotine habit leaned against the door and enjoyed his vice. Mary continued to take a few more pictures when she stopped. Maybe if I just turned the car on for a few minutes. As that thought occurred to her, the smoker butted his cigarette and called to someone still in the building. There was a truck arriving. Mary raised the phone again and began taking pictures of everything. The truck was a boxy refrigerator unit with the logo of a popular cartoon character on the side. From her vantage point, she could hear the beep beep of the truck's reverse indicator as it backed towards the cargo bay doors. Another man stepped out of the clinic. A tall, older man with a white lab coat. Mary began stabbing at the photo app's shutter icon even faster. Click, 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 click. The shutter sound was deafeningly loud in the tiny car. She was afraid that they could hear it in the valley below. The smoker signaled for the truck to stop, and then opened the rear doors. When someone still in the clinic rolled up the bay doors, a ramp was placed between the cargo bay and the refrigerator truck. Click, 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 click. Mary watched. Her eyes darted from her phone to the real view playing out before her. Under the supervision of the smoker, 2 men in a heavy winter coats were carrying coolers, no larger than what you would place a picnic lunch in, from the clinic and placing them in the refrigerator truck. Mary counted 27 coolers in total. If her source was right, she just witnessed hearts, kidneys, lungs, and who knows what else, leaving from at least 5 different people. None of them, she was sure, were taken with consent.
Wow. Yeah. And what was supposed to be his eternal tomb? She used a backhoe to bury him under the great ash, below the subsoil where nothing lived. By charm or by chance, she overlooked the spore he had hidden in his ear. At this depth, the ground didn't freeze, but water went where it liked, dissolving nails, wearing down stone. It took years for the first crack to split his cement prison. Greedy, hair-like shoots converged on this weak point, forcing the concrete aside thread by thread. The entity emerged over weeks and months, an expanding mass of unnatural shoots that only knew up.
Something to happen now. Well, the weapon glinted like a specter of doom in the moonlight. The assassin stroked its sleek lines like a long-lost lover reunited before picking up the target in the gathering crowd 20 floors below. For a fraction of a second, a hesitation tugged before an intense flush of passion swept over him, and the rest became easy. He gently squeezed the trigger once. That was all that was needed. And below, a man fell and twitched twice in a growing puddle of blood. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. Not a nasty, dirty, wet hole filled with the ends of worms and an oozy smell, nor a dry, bare, sandy hole with nothing in it to sit down on or to eat. It was a hobbit hole, and that meant comfort. It had a perfectly round door like a portal, painted green, with a shiny brass knob in the exact middle. The door opened onto a tube-shaped hall like a tunnel, a very comfortable tunnel without smoke, with paneled walls and floors tilted and carpeted, provided with polished chairs and lots of pegs for hats and coats. The hobbit was fond of visitors. The tunnel wound on and on, going fairly but not quite straight into the side of the hill. The hill, as all the people for many miles around it called it, and many little round doors opened out of it, the first on one side and then the other. It's obviously Tolkien, and he will spend 12 pages describing a tree. Which is great, but that quite well sets up just the world of the hobbits, just that.
I'm interested in, Tolkien's so beloved, but what is it that grabs people about Tolkien? I want to hear from you.
You almost tripped. Watch out for that.
All right.